Hey everybody, welcome back to the 80s Slashers YouTube channel. In this video, we will continue counting down my top 80 slashers of the 80s. And we will be looking at and discussing numbers 20 through 11 in this video. Yeah, so if you've been following along with these rankings, you will know that we have already started getting into some of the films that are considered by most to be, the heavyweights of the genre, especially the last 10 we talked about. There was a few on that list that were, heavyweights. But with this next list of 10 films that we're about to talk about, I feel like I can confidently say that these are all some of the best films within the genre. And depending on the person, due to subjectivity, these each and every one of these films all could easily be argued to fall within someone's top 10 or top 5 within the 80s slasher subgenre of horror. Each and every one of these films I consider to be an all-time classic. Not just, within the little subgenre of 80s slasher, but just within the plain old-fashioned, horror uh, genre of film. I think all 10 of these films are just all-time horror classics, regardless of subgenre. So yeah, so we're, we're now talking about the best of the best. Um, so let's just get into it. As always, I should say that these are of course my own personal rankings. Based solely on my own likes, tastes, and preferences within the genre. So I know we're getting down to like the nitty gritty here. So some people may see some films on here and think they should be higher, think they should be much lower. But again, it's just based on what I like. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. And yeah, let's kick this off and start out by taking a look at number 20. All right, so coming in at number 20 from 1980, we have Prom Night. Now this is one of the earliest, slashers within the genre. It's from 1980, and this is one of the films. There's like a little small handful of films that took advantage of the popularity of Jamie Lee Curtis. Obviously her big breakout was in 1978 with John Carpenter's Halloween, and there was like a whole she starred in like a whole bunch of horror films in the early 80s, and this is one of them. And I like Jamie Lee Curtis in these early horror films. I don't know what it is. She just has a presence about her, I guess. She just makes for a good, final girl, or even if she's not in a slasher film, she just makes for a strong protagonist. She plays the strong woman very well. Um, yeah, I don't know. I know not everybody likes Jamie Lee Curtis, but I do, and she's good. She's good in Prom Night. I don't know. I always liked Prom Night. I don't know what it is. It's just I feel like there's a lot. This film has a lot going for it. Like I said, there's a good cast. Obviously Jamie Lee Curtis. Leslie Nielsen is in this, who is kind of strange to see, right? Because he's like we always consider Leslie Nielsen as like this comedic actor, but he's really good as like in like more of a serious role. So yeah, like the directing, just like the acting, everything about the film is well made. It's a well done film. The obviously it's called Prom Night, so like the main setting is like a school setting, um, which is fantastic. I absolutely love school settings. And this is kind of leading up to like the prom night at the end of the year, and there's like the dance and all that stuff, and it's great. It's just a really good setting and theme to structure a 80s slasher around. It's really good. Now this film kind of has like a backstory. Like the plot, it starts off with a bunch of kids, and something happens to a group of kids, and you see it at the beginning, and that's kind of the prior evil event that is the fuel for what the rest of the film happens. And we've seen it lots of times before, this particular plot point. But I think it's done really well here. And yeah, I think they pulled it off, and it kind of it pays off at the end. Yeah, so in terms of story and like the setup, I think they did a really good job. This film has some good kills. There's like a decapitation that's the highlight for me. It's really good the way it plays out, and how like the head is shown and whatnot. It's good. It's a really good scene. There's enough nudity. It's not like a ton of nudity in this film, but it fills its quota, I guess. It put it in where it needed to put it. Um, yeah, this I don't know. I just have a really good time with this film. Um, there's some really good like moments in this film that just always stand out to me. Of course, you get to see there's some disco dance. You can see Jamie Lee Curtis doing like some disco dancing, which is really good. But then at the end, like the prom setting and everything, it's really cool. I just it kind of has that late 70s feel. Obviously this is like 1980, so it still has like the disco and from the 70s bleeding over into the 80s. So it has a good mix of like the time setting, like where when this film was made and stuff. There another really good sequence in this. There's a chase scene. It's one of the longest chase scenes through the school halls, and like the girl is just running, and she's running forever, and she's hiding in classrooms and down hallways and lockers. It's great. It's one of the best chase sequences in these films. It's really good. Uh, yeah, I don't know. It's just this is just a classic slasher, Canadian slasher. I didn't even mention that. This is a Canadian film. So, that's bonus points for me for sure. But yeah, I don't know. For me, this film just checks all the boxes, and I just really like it. It's a great setting, some fun kills, a little bit of nudity, Jamie Lee Curtis, some disco music. It just has a little bit of everything. So I really like Prom Night. All right, let's move on, and we'll take a look at number 19. All right, so coming in at number 19 from 1981, we have Happy Birthday to Me. Now, this is another Canadian film. So again, more points. Like, maybe nobody cares about that, but I like that they're Canadian. These little Canadian slashes. We had a good little boom in the early 80s. There's a few of them. So yeah. But yeah, this Happy Birthday to Me is great. f- for me, this film is all about the plot, the story. I really like the way that this film is structured, the story, and the way it plays out. And because there's like a mystery to it. Like we keep seeing like flashbacks of like our main character, like she's having like some like brain surgery and whatnot. We get to see that, which is kind of gross. You get to see like the brain and stuff like that, which is pretty gory. Um, but yeah, throughout the film, you keep seeing flashbacks, and she's trying to figure out her past. Something happened, she can't figure it out, and so we as the film plays out, we get to like piece it together, and just the way that it's presented and it unfolds. I just love the story. I think it really works, and of course the payoff at the end is fantastic. Like that's what this whole like I said, the main event for this for me is the story. The payoff at the end is so good. um yeah, it's really good. But besides the great story, there's some really good kills in this film, really unique. That's why I love a lot of these slasher films. You have your typical killer with a bladed weapon, and it's great. Go down slitting throats and stabbing people, which is great. That's what we all love. But I love it when when they use unique kills, with different items, like household items or whatnot. And this film does a really good job of that. We have, there's a kill like using like a motorcycle wheel, like so with a scarf, like a scarf getting caught in a motorcycle wheel, which is fantastic. There's a death by like a weightlifting, like a what do you call it? Like a barbell, someone like on a weightlifting bench press. That's amazing. There's a shish kebab kill. Like it's just they're really unique, really creative, and you get your regular bladed weapons kills in here. Like the kills are great, so good. Um, yeah, no, like I said, this is another classic style of slasher. Just one of these early '80s films. They followed the formula. You know, they threw in a few different things to separate them, make them unique, which this film did, and it's great. And like I said, the finale of this film, just the look and feel of how this, and it's creepy. It makes my hair stand up in the end. The finale of this, and it was so well done. Like I think this was copied like multiple times. I've talked about it on this channel a few times, but I don't know what was made first or what. But this film. The film Madhouse, which I believe was made a little after this, and then the film Mortuary, which was definitely made after this, they all have very similar end scenes. Like they clearly copied from, I'm pretty sure they copied from Happy Birthday to Me. It's just it's too coincidental. Especially Madhouse. Madhouse in this film, the ending it's eerily similar. So I don't know. I think that's like speaks to the Happy Birthday to Me. I think it's just the ending is fantastic. So yeah, coming at number 19, Happy Birthday to Me. Fantastic Canadian slasher. All right, let's move on and take a look at number 18. Okay, so coming to number 18 from 1983, we have The House on Sorority Row. Now this film, I really like this one because it just has a great feel. Obviously, it takes place within like a sorority house setting, and it for whatever reason the filmmakers really they really make you feel like you're witnessing life in a sorority house in the early 80s. It just you put this on and it's comforting in that sense, if it just feels like you don't see a lot of, like, I guess it's like a college school type slasher, right? But you don't see a lot at the school. It's more like you're off campus. You're in the sorority house, and all the sorority women, and like the pranks and the games, and like the house mother. It's just, yeah, they just captured a really good vibe, and I don't know. I just really like it. Um, now again, we've seen the story, the main setup to this film so many times before. But yeah, you have like a group of friends, they play a prank. The prank goes wrong, someone gets hurt or killed, and then they're trying to cover it up, and then, there's secrets in the past come out, and because of the prank, kind of like, I know what you did last summer kind of thing, Um, that's what this is, and this is, maybe it's one of the first ones to do it, but they did it really good. This one is really is just really well done, and yeah, I love that story. I love, that's why we've seen it so many times, because it's a good plot point. It's a good way to structure a film. So yeah, that's fantastic. I like how this cast is mostly it's all women, and like, and you get like, so it's different in that sense, because usually you get a solid mix of the guys and the girls, and there is guys in this film, but they're kind of side characters. We're following these sorority sisters, and you get like, again, you get the stereotypical. You get like the strong final girl type. You get like the slutty girl. You get the nerd girl. You get the goody girls. You get all that stuff. And it's fun to it's just good to see a cast when it's just a little different. It just makes it a little different. So I really like that. The house itself is great. It's very cool. If like I said, it feels like you're in a sorority house. It's big. There's like lots of places to explore, like the basement, the backyard, the main rooms, each girl's bedrooms. It's plenty big. The attic, the attic is fantastic. Yeah, there's lots of cool things to see in this house. It's a really good setting. Of course, the film has some really good kills. The highlight for me, there's one with like a head. in a toilet, which is fantastic. Such a good kill. But there's some fun kills. I don't think the kills are like the main draw to this film. Uh, and then we have to talk about the ending. The ending in this film, there's some scenes up in the attic, and it's super creepy. It's really creepy. There's like a clown or like a jester, and it's just really tense. There's a couple really tense moments with like the clown jester up in the attic. It's super creepy. Makes your hair stand on your arms a little bit. And the way that the plot was structured, it was like there was like a backstory. We kept seeing like flashbacks, and it played itself out really well. And the conclusion was, for me anyway, was really satisfying. But then you throw in like the creepy killer clown gesture. It was good. This is a really solid classic 80s slasher film. I absolutely love it. So yeah, coming to number 18, The House on Sorority Row. All right, let's move on to number 17. All right, so coming at number 17 from 1986, we have Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. Now, if you're familiar with this channel, you know I'm biased like crazy towards Friday the 13th films. I absolutely love them. You're gonna see a whole bunch of these films coming up in the next list. So be prepared for that. I'll tell you that. But yeah, I like this film. This feels just like a classic mid '80s Friday the 13th film. The two after this, seven and eight. I don't like seven that much. Eight I like. Um, and then, the earlier ones have a different feel. This is like the mid 80s. It kind of had its own little feeling in there. And this is the best of the mid 80s ones for me, mid to late 80s. Yeah, there's just a ton of things to going for this film for me. I like how this film finally goes back to like the sleepaway camp setting. We didn't really see that since part two. Like parts three and four and five, they were in and around Camp Crystal Lake, but they weren't like there was no like camp counselors or campers. This one actually had little kids, little campers. This is the first time we actually saw the little kids running around. And I love that. So it's a great setting. Back to that, it's where the franchise feels like it should be. Then we have Tom Matthews playing Tommy Jarvis, who is great, like a grown-up Tommy Jarvis. The timeline is weird, when you're four, five, and six, when you're talking about those films. But whatever, I don't care about that. I love Tom Matthews as Tommy Jarvis. He's good. He's charismatic, and he's just a good character in this film. Then you have C.J. Graham, who is playing Jason Voorhees himself, and he's great. He's a fantastic Jason. He's super big, super powerful. He's fast. I think that's why I like. He's one of the fastest Jasons when he's walking through the woods. Like he's walking with a purpose. Like he's not like slow and lumbering. Like he's a scary Jason. He's one of the few that he might catch you, like I always said, like, these slow lumbering Jasons, they're not gonna catch me. I'm gone. I'll be, yeah. But this Jason, he might get you because he's walking with a purpose. So that's kind of an extra little element there to him. Of course, this film has some Alice Cooper music sprinkled in, which is really cool. It just fits a Jason Friday the 13th movie really well. Yeah, Alice Cooper, Friday the 13th, they just go hand in hand, it seems. And like the placement for the songs, it's great. It's really good. It just really adds to the film. Of course, this film has pretty good kills. Like there's highlights for me. There's like the chick in the RV getting her face smashed through the wall, which is fantastic. The sheriff that gets folded back like a beach chair or something. That's great. Like yeah, there's definitely some fun kills in this film. It just like I said, it just feels like a Friday the 13th film. It's just due to the setting and just the feel of it. That's why I can't not love this film. It just feels like Friday the 13th. They're my favorite. So the only things that hold this film back, there's a couple things that really hold it back from being up within my top tier. is the humor. There's weird humor in this film. Like the opening paintball scene. I like with the happy face. It's the James Bond thing. There's some weird stuff. It doesn't belong. They probably, in hindsight, they shouldn't have put it in. I don't think it doesn't spoil it for me, but it's kind of weird. And then some of the kids are cracking jokes as Jason stalked. They're hiding under beds and they're making weird comments and jokes, just trying to get a laugh out of people. American Express joke, which is fine. I don't know. It's just, yeah. I just wish they wouldn't have put that in. And the other thing that, again, it's not a big problem, but this is the only film of these 80s that doesn't really have any nudity, which is weird. Like you watch these films and um, you expect these films to have nudity, but hmm, whatever. Yeah, it doesn't, so that's fine. But yeah, so besides those two things, like this is almost a perfect Friday the 13th film for me, and yeah, I love it. So I think coming in at number 17 is feels just about right for me. So yeah, so that's number 17. All right, let's move on. Take a look at number 16. Okay, so coming at number 16 from 1982, we have The New York Ripper. Now, this is probably the first film on this list that we've talked about that is not your typical classic style slasher. This film is more of a giallo and like kind of like a police procedural, but wrapped around the bones of a slasher film. So it's kind of unique. It's a few different genres kind of blended together. Um, but it's all sleazy. Like this film is one of the sleaziest films in the genre, and I love it for that because I like my films a little sleazy. I'm not gonna lie. This film has a ton of violence, ton of kills and gore, and it has a ton of like sex and nudity, and often the sex and violence are mixed together at one time, and it just makes it feel dirty and grimy at times. It's just it, it's a good mix. Like it's this film is uh it's just grimy. It just has like this feel to it, and it's not just the kills and the sex scenes. It's like the New York the New York City setting is also grimy and sleazy. Just the whole thing is just um it just has a feel to it, and I absolutely love it. This is a Lucio Fulci film, so of course there's lots of mean spirited kills. There's like you see like uh, a woman getting her genitals mutilated with like a broken wine bottle. Like it's just stuff like that. You're just like you don't usually see that kind of stuff, but yeah, like it's typical for Fulci kind of stuff. And of course, there's some I don't know what you call eye gore, like you know, being doing gross things to eyeballs. Like it seems like that's his favorite thing to do. In this film, it's great. Like it's good, but it's like it makes you like wince. Like you're about to see these scenes. You're like, oh, am I gonna watch it? Am I gonna like witness this? And yeah, if you don't look away, you're gonna see some weird eye stuff, and it's hard to watch, but it's great. I love it. It's a weird. I don't know. Like you don't want to watch it, but you do want to watch it. It's weird. I don't know. Yeah, I like this film. The story is it's surprisingly really good. Again, it's very giallo, uh, like in the storyline, how it plays out, the mystery, the reveal, all that stuff. Um, it's really good. We get some duck quacking. The killer like quacks like talks like Donald Duck and quacks on the phone, which is really strange. I don't know what the point of that was, but it's memorable. It definitely makes you remember this film. But yeah, The New York Ripper, it's just a very unique um, entry into the genre. There's not too many films like it, and because of that, I just love it. It's just one of these films you can just go back and watch and just kind of wincing the whole time at some of the violence and the sex and the creepy, weird, like sex scenes. Like there's a lot of weird stuff in this film, but it's great. So yeah, coming number 16, the New York Ripper. All right, let's move on. Take a look at number 15. All right, so coming to number 15 from 1981, we have Halloween 2. Now, besides the original Halloween film, this is really the only film in the franchise that I love. I should say the only film that has Michael Myers, because Part 3 is something else, which I love. Uh, but yeah, of all the Michael Myers films, the first one and this one, I love. Everything else after that, they're okay. They're pretty good, but yeah, I really like Halloween too. Michael Myers in this film is still actually scary to me. I know there's moments throughout the other films, but for whatever reason, the first film and this film, he's like a really good villain. He just the look, the way he moves, his motivations. He still has like a mystery. Yeah, he's just in Halloween 2, he's great. He's a great villain. He's a good killer. It's not surprising that they gave him like a franchise. Just kept wanting to pump more and more of these films out, and the quality may not have been there, but yeah, like it's this is the reason. Like these first two films, just the look and the feel of Michael Myers is great. Now, this film, of course, is primarily set in a hospital, which is fantastic setting for a slasher film. Um, Strangely, this hospital is like super abandoned. Like after this film picks up right after the first film. It was like a massacre in the town of Haddonfield, and the hospital is surprisingly empty. Not a lot of activity, which is weird. But um, you take out that logic, put that logic aside. It really works because it creates a really atmospheric, abandoned hospital, which is great for Michael to be hunting Laurie. And like some of like the lighting is just fantastic. Some of like the overhead fluorescent lights are like burning out, they're flickering. Not all the halls are lighted well. It's lots of use of like light and shadows. It's great, very atmospheric, fantastic setting. Um, Again, obviously this film stars Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's really good in this film. I thought. Um, she's kind of doped up, and she's like, cause she just fought him than the movie before, like the night before, so it kind of works out. She's not her strong self in this. She's more, like I said, she's like hurt and she's limping around. She's doped up, I think, but she does a really good job, and yeah, and like I said, I love how this film like picks up immediately after the first film. Like if you watch them back to back, like it just is a continuing story from that night, the Halloween night, and it just works really well. I just love that. It just I like how they just pick up and go, and like, there's no time gaps to mess with storylines or whatnot. It's great. This film has obviously some great kills, has some good nudity. It's like I said, it's really atmospheric. It's just, it's a great example of an early '80s slasher. It just has everything you want. I really wish the franchise would have continued down this path. But after this, they went in different directions. Obviously, part three was a completely different direction. But then when they came back to this Michael Myers world with part four, they started going down like the supernatural path. Parts four, five, and six. I don't know. I just wish they would have stuck with what worked in part one and two. But for me at least, this was kind of the end of it. After this, things get weird. So um, yeah, I don't know. I love Halloween too. It's great. So yeah, number 15, Halloween 2. All right, let's move on. Take a look at number 14. All right, so coming to number 14 from 1984, we have Silent Night and Deadly Night. Now, this, in my opinion, is the best Christmas slasher of all time. I I love this film. It has everything. This film is everything that you expect for for an 80s slasher to have, this film has. But then it also is like a Christmas story. It's a Christmas movie, and just they combine them so well. It just works to be an 80s slasher and a Christmas movie all at the same time. It's not an 80s slasher that takes place at Christmas. This is like a Christmas movie that just happens to be an 80s slasher, if that makes sense. It's the perfect blend, and it works really well. The setting, of course, not just like the Christmas time setting, which is great, but like we get just like the mountain town up in the mountains, and it's a great little setting. But then we get like a primary location within the film is like a 80s toy store at Christmas time, and you get to see like GI Joe and He-Man and Star Wars. It's great. It's fantastic. So yeah, setting is fantastic. The story itself is great. It has like a really good backstory. Like a little kid witnessing Santa kill his parents, and he comes crazy at Christmas time and has a phobia of Santa. It's good, and then he grows up to be crazy, and he starts killing people at Christmas time. It's great. It's the story is it's simple, but it works really well. It's really good. The film has amazing kills, like some fantastic kills. Again, very unique. You don't just see like him killing people with an axe, which he does, but like people getting like impaled on like deer antlers and like sledding down a hill, getting decapitated. Like there's there's really good stuff in this film. There's tons of nudity. This is one of the most 80s slashes with the most nudity. Um, yeah, like this film has everything. It's just I just love how it's a unique mix of capturing that 80s Christmas movie feel, which it does, but then it also is your typical 80s slasher feel. So at the same time, it makes you feel like homey, like all comfy at Christmas. Like, oh, 80s Christmas movie makes me feel good inside. But then you're watching like a slasher movie, and it's just a weird mix. I don't know. I just absolutely love it. There's not too many films that can pull that off, I don't think. Um, I don't know. I think it just, because of that, it just makes it feel really nostalgic because of that Christmas, that homey Christmas feel. Um, I don't know. Linnea Quigley is in this, and again, she is one of the most iconic scenes in the entire genre. Like, before she meets her end, which is fantastic, she's just walking around naked, topless, just like no big deal. Opening the door, topless, front door. It's great. It's so funny. Yeah, this film I've begun watching it like every Christmas now. It's become like almost like a yearly Christmas tradition. You watch Home Alone, Christmas Story, Christmas National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Those are all the movies I watch every Christmas. And this is fast. Somehow this film has found its way into my rotation. Just because of the way it feels. So yeah, I love Silent Night, Deadly Night. All right, so let's move on. Take a look at number 13. All right, so come number 13 from 1980, we have Maniac. Now, this is again, this is a film that's similar to the New York Ripper that we just talked about, in that it's not your typical slasher. Um, this is actually I always consider this like a sister. Those two films are like sister films. New York Ripper is like the Italian style, and Maniac's like the American style. Um, but in unlike New York Ripper, this isn't really like a giallo, and this isn't really like a police procedural. This is more of a study uh, into like mental illness, like witnessing the slow decline into craziness, I guess. And I think that's probably why I have it ranked a little higher, because I just find it a little more interesting. I like watching that. Um, Joe Spinell is fantastic as the maniac, I guess, and yeah, he just does an amazing job displaying this transformation that he's going through as he's slowly descends into madness. And yeah, he's great. There's some brutal kills in this film. Really, like the kills in this film, they just feel really realistic, like as if you're like witnessing a serial killer killing people. Like they don't sugarcoat the the violence. They just it feels real. Like it's very visceral. Like you're witnessing it, and it's yeah, it just gives you a certain feeling, I guess. Again, this film is really nostalgic for me. It's probably again why I have it ranked a little higher than New York Ripper. It just I remember I watched this as a kid. I remember, and I was young when I watched this film, and I still remember that the subway, the kill scene that takes place in the subway bathroom really messed me up. Like I just nightmares of that when I was a kid. I don't know, something about just like I don't know, him like hunting her down and just I don't know. I don't it just really messed me up as a kid. It's a great scene. Um yeah, New York City in this film is also portrayed really good. It's really sleazy and grimy. Like this is another sleazy film. It's not as sleazy as the New York Ripper because the sex and the violence isn't mixed as much, but it just has an overall vibe that's just it has a sleazy feel just because Joe Spinell's character is really kind of grimy and the city's grimy. It just I don't know, it feels really good this film. Um yeah, I don't know. Again, this is just a really unique one, and I just love it. I just love Maniac. Anyone who's seen it, like it's kind of hard to explain this film unless you've seen it. It's kind of hard to describe exactly what it is because, like I said, there's not much like it. Like I guess you could, like I said, New York Ripper, you can compare it to it. There's a few other films, but yeah, I absolutely love Maniac. So yeah, coming at number 13, Maniac. All right, let's move on to number 12. All right, so coming at number 12 from 1985, we have Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. All right, this film takes a lot of crap from people. A lot of crap. When I see people's Friday the 13th rankings, oftentimes this comes in at the bottom. People hate this film all for one reason. There's no Jason. They tricked me. It's Roy. It's stupid. It's not a Friday the 13th film if there's no Jason. Blah, 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 blah. That just makes it, that's people's opinion. That's great. That's fine. If it bugs you, it bugs you, I guess. I could I could care less. If it's Jason or Roy, bottom line, this is an amazing Friday the 13th film. It looks like a Friday the 13th film. It feels like a Friday the 13th film. It has all the beats and all the elements that these films had at the time at this point in the 80s. Um and they went with something different, they story element, they tried the old switcheroo at the end, and I think the switcheroo was pretty good. I think it worked. Like it was obvious. Watching it now, some of the looks on Roy's face, you're like, wow, he's clearly the killer, kind of thing. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but yeah. But I, I, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't. People bash this film for no Jason, but like he looks like Jason during the whole film. It looks like Jason, walks like Jason, he kills like Jason. I don't care. This film's awesome. This is probably the sleaziest of all the Friday the 13th films, which is fantastic. Again, they use the sex and violence quite a bit mixed together. I like the kills. There's some really fun kills. Unfortunately, the film got cut by like the ratings board. So they could have been a lot better, but they're good enough. There's some really good, fun, creative kills. Demon, demon in the outhouse. That's fantastic. Just the scenario of that is great. This film has a ton of nudity. Obviously, it stars Deborah Sue Voorhees. And she's probably the best actress to remove her clothing in any Friday the 13th film. Yeah, her scene is fantastic. Again, this film for me is, again, maybe it's higher than most because it's so nostalgic for me. This is one of the first films I've seen in the franchise growing up. One of the first 80s slashers I saw growing up. I was really young when I saw this, and so many scenes just stuck with me. Like the again the character demon in the outhouse. I just, man, I remember watching that, and it terrified me. Like shaking outside the outhouse, and yeah, I just there's a bunch of scenes in this movie that just I just remember vividly as a kid watching. It's great. Um, yeah, like I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with this film. Like I keep harking back to like people complaining because I feel like I always have to defend this film because there's always gonna be people who say, "Oh, it's crap. This film's terrible." But I don't know. I'll defend this film forever, man. I think it's fantastic. I love it. I don't know what else to say. I just the whole Jason Roy angle. I think the way it was structured was really good. It was fun. Um, you know, they killed Jason before, and the way they had to bring him back was zombie Jason, and they kind of the franchise at that point went in a different direction. Um, at least here they kind of like bent the rules. They had like a little loophole, and they had fun with it. They made a good film. It's violent, it's sleazy, it's sexy at times. It's great, man. Yeah. So yeah, come number 12, Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. All right, let's move on to the last one on this list. Take a look at number 11. All right, so coming at number 11 from 1982, we have Pieces. Uh, Pieces is so much fun. This is one of the craziest films in the entire subgenre. It's probably the craziest. There's not too many things like this. Again, this is not your typical style of 80s slasher. This is, again, more of a giallo style, especially with the story. The way the story, like the backstory and the mystery and the reveal, all plays out very Italian feeling. Even this is a Spanish film, but again, a lot of these Spanish horror films are very similar to the Italian ones. But yeah, so definitely very giallo feel. But everything else is, it fills the the slasher genre. It has lots of slasher goodness. Um, the kills and the nudity in this film are both just over the top. They're just they're so violent. They're so bloody. They're so gratuitous in the nudity. And they mix them together. Women, again, so it's like it has that sleazy vibe, like women getting killed while they're naked quite often. But then they're not just getting killed; they're getting like body parts ripped off with a chainsaw. It's it's something to watch, I tell you. Um, it's really, again, like Maniac and stuff like that. It's really hard to explain this film to someone if they've never seen it. It's just you just have to watch it. It's just there's nothing quite comparable to Pieces, really. And I'll say this film is probably not for everyone. Like I can see half the people, like 50% of people, watch this film and walk away like saying like that was garbage. Like how do you like that film? And like the people turning it off. I get that. I can see how it's not for everybody, but if you like if you like your violence and your nudity and just everything just over the top and crazy, there's none better than Pieces. This film is the definition of gratuitous, showing violence just for the sake of showing violence, showing nudity just for the sake of showing naked women. There's no it, it wasn't needed for to fill in the plot. It's just 5 minutes has gone by. We should probably cut somebody's arm off. That's what it feels like. Oh, we've gone too long. Let's have this girl run around naked for 2 minutes. It's just they just inserted these crazy scenes throughout the whole film, but it works really good. Yeah, Pieces is so much fun. I just have a smile on my face the entire time I'm watching this film because there's just so much to enjoy. And everything works out. Like the plot at the end, it all comes together. The mysteries reveal. Like it plays out like a good film, start to finish. It's just all through the middle. You just treat it with craziness, and it's just yeah, it's just a blast to watch. So yeah, come number 11, Pieces from 1982, and that is gonna wrap it up for numbers 20 through 11. So that's it. We're almost done. We got one of these left, numbers 10 through 1. Um, so yeah, I look forward to doing that. So stay tuned. A couple weeks that will be coming here. And yeah, until next time. All right. See ya.